What is going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I have a special treat for you today, and I'm bringing you the first ever recorded chess game. Now, nowadays, when you play like in a FIDE tournament or a standard game other than Blitz or Bullet, in a slower time control, you're supposed to record your moves, so there's a record of it. And this right here is going to be a playthrough of the first ever game, which was recorded in a similar fashion. And to give you an idea of how long ago this game was played, it was before 1492 when Columbus sailed the oceans blue. Does anyone know the three ships that Columbus sailed in? It was the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And I'm just laying in bed. I don't have any notes or I'm in the dark right now. So I do the research and this is all from memory. So let's get this going. The first game in history recorded was a E4 game. Black played D5, the Scandinavian. So white captured black's pawn. And black is flexing those new queen skills and captures the white pawn on d5. Just like modern times, they knew what they were doing back then too. White developed the knight to c3, kicking the queen. And the queen tucked back right to its original position on d8. White went with a standard developing move and put his bishop on c4, eyeing that weak f7 pawn. So black developed the kingside knight to f6. White followed suit and developed their kingside knight to f3. Black came through and pinned the knight to the queen with bishop g4. And even back then, they knew how to test the waters. h3 was played, hitting the bishop. So black's bishop went ahead and it did capture the knight on f3. So white captured the bishop with his queen on f3. Kind of the scholar mate setup if that knight wasn't there. And you notice that the queen is also hitting up that weak b2 pawn. Black ignored that and developed the e pawn to e6, opening up the line for the dark squared bishop. So white went ahead and captured the b2 pawn, b7 pawn. It would be b2 on the white side. So black defended the rook by developing his knight to d7. And white came through and opened up an attack looking to fork the king and rook with knight to b5, doubling the attack on the c7 pawn. So black moved the rook, tucked it to c8. White came through and captured the a7 pawn with the knight, attacking that rook now. So rather than moving the rook, black developed the knight again to b6, defending the rook. And there were some exchanges. White captured the rook on c8, and black recaptured on c8. And this is where things get funky. White pushed the d pawn to d4, opening up the line for the dark squared bishop. And smart cookie monster, black, moved the knight again to d6, not only attacking the queen, but also the bishop, and both are currently undefended. So white kind of worms out of it and moves his bishop to b5, checking the black king. And black goes ahead and captures the bishop with his knight on b5. White recaptures the knight on b5, and black goes ahead and blocks it with his knight, not his queen, on d7. Kind of looks like a standard game, surprisingly. They knew what they were doing even back then. So, from here, things get very interesting. White pushes the d-pawn to d5, and black captures it on d5. White goes ahead and develops the bishop to e3, and this is when black develops their dark squared bishop as well and places theirs on d6. Now back then, there were no rule of a castle yet. I'm assuming white would have castled previously or this turn, but there wasn't the move. White instead moves their rook to d1, eyeing up the d-pawn. This is when the queen moves to f6, kind of attacking the weak f2 pawn and also hitting the b2 pawn, but both are currently covered. B's covered by the queen, and the f is covered by the king and the bishop. White goes ahead and captures the d pawn, which is on d5, and black moves their queen over to g6. Now they're hitting two different pawns. They're hitting the c2 pawn, which is currently undefended, and the g2 pawn, which is currently undefended. So white comes in and moves their bishop to f4, kind of attacking the dark squared bishop that's on d6. And black makes the fatal mistake of capturing that free bishop. It's free, right? Why would you not take a free bishop? So black captures the bishop on f4, and that's when white goes psyche, hikey nikey, queen d7 check, forcing the king to f8 and delivering the final blow, queen d8 checkmate. This is the oldest recorded game. It's actually pretty beautiful in a simplistic kind of way. Maybe take the time and learn the moves and memorize it like I currently have tonight. It's not something that I've known for months or years. I literally memorized it for this video. And I'm probably going to retain the whole entire game. Maybe a move or two I might forget, and I might have to brush up, like the D pawn push and bringing out the dark squared bishop for white. The move order I might lose in the future, but I'll go back and freshen up from time to time. I do appreciate you guys. I hope that you do enjoy the videos and the material I bring to you. And I will catch you on the next video. Leave a comment what you think about the new color scheme. I'm loving it. And here's a random fact. Purple is the only color that's not on the rainbow. Think about it. Not violet, not indigo, purple. Have a good one.